We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
Nosotros crecemos cuando damos.
We grow when we give.
与えるとき成長する。
We grow when we give.
Welcome to R.O.G, Return on Generosity, a podcast celebrating generosity at work. Not financial giving, giving valuable time, alternative perspectives, and genuine collaboration. Welcome to R.O.G. Our episode today is about Pura Vida. This is a way of life in Costa Rica. We had the very good fortune of having the opportunity to visit Costa Rica, and everyone said Pura Vida. They said Pura Vida to say hello, thank you, you're welcome, no problem, excuse me, have a great day, etc. So Pura Vida is a phrase that I learned while visiting Costa Rica. What does this mean? It means live simply, simple life, pure life, being in the moment, maybe Hakuna Matata if you wanted to equate it to something else that you may have heard from other sources, right? To not have any worries and to just be in the moment. So Pura Vida has become something that I'm aspiring to model in my own life. Not as easy to do as to say, but that's why I wanted to make this an R.O.G episode so that you could learn this way of life. Maybe you've heard this before and you've practiced this, but Pura Vida is legitimately a way of life in Costa Rica. So the cultural relevance and the way in which it has become a cultural norm is also something that interests me as a leadership expert and as a generous leadership coach. How do you create something that sticks and that people actually live their lives by and change their behavior because of? So Pura Vida is a way for us to consider how we could be more generous as leaders. Because when we simplify life, when we take the chaos out of it and we try not to make things so complicated, we actually benefit ourselves. We free up our minds to just focus on what is and to leverage our own genius. And we also free up other people. We make it less difficult for people to do their jobs and to thrive and to understand what we mean and to meet expectations and to celebrate wins. So Pura Vida could really be a way to figure out how do I want to show up in this situation, right? How do I want to model this behavior of living simply and enjoying life? So I have an example from my visit to Costa Rica that demonstrates how this can work in real time. So our family went out for a lovely dinner the night before we were leaving. So we were kind of a little sad. So we had this terrific dinner and we found out at the very last minute, like when the check arrived, that it's a cash only restaurant. Well, between all of us, we absolutely didn't have enough. And we also didn't have a bank card on us. I don't know what we were thinking, but everywhere else we were on the island took credit cards. So the owner came over and said, no worries, Pura Vida, come pay me tomorrow. No handwritten note, no copy of your license, no nothing. Like he didn't even ask for our names. He just said, come pay me tomorrow. So sure enough, first thing in the morning, we get online at the ATM. There was literally a line at the ATM. We took out the money, we walked to the restaurant, and it was filled with people that were there for lunch, and it was dark. So we see the owner, and he's over by the cash register, and he's got a calculator in his hand, and he's got his arm over this other person, a person who works for him. And we said, hi, we were here last night for dinner, and we didn't have cash. And he says, oh, okay, no. He says, we're currently experiencing a power outage, and we're just trying to figure out how we can fulfill the lunch orders for some of our customers. If you don't mind just hanging on for a moment. We said, sure. So we waited. When we finally had the opportunity to speak to us, he was so calm and just serene and, took the money, thanked us for coming back, asked us how great our meal was. Like no conversation about
the fact that his restaurant was full, that there's no power. And so I said, gosh, this must be a really difficult thing for you to manage, not having power in the middle of lunch hour. He said, Pura Vida, Pura Vida, shook it off. So if he can do that in those moments, that was within a, 14-hour, 20-hour time period, we can do it. So when things happen, which they will, that cause you frustration, that are disappointing, that are irritating, just wonder, is this a big deal? Is this going to derail my day? Or is this just one of those moments where I can practice Pura Vida, live the simple life, and take it easy? So I hope that this helps you on your gratitude journey. Stay generous, everyone. Pura Vida.
Thanks for listening to R.O.G. Return on Generosity podcast. Please help us grow by subscribing and reviewing us on your favorite podcast player. And for more information, visit bridgebetween.com. We grow when we give.
우리는 나누면서 성숙합니다.
We grow when we give.
On rayonne quand on donne.
We grow when we give.